New York Governor Andrew Cuomo giving a bizarre speech last week in which he claimed he was undocumented. Take a listen.
I'm undocumented. You want to deport an undocumented person? Start with me, because I'm an undocumented person.
Weird. Of course, coming from a man who was born in Queens, New York, whose wealthy parents were also born here, is absurd. It was apparently an effort to empathize or get sympathy from illegal immigrants, or maybe he's exploring a 2020 run. Joining me now is Gina Loudon, former Trump campaign surrogate and a member of President Trump's media advisory board, and Dom Giordano, radio talk show host on Philadelphia's WPHT. Good to see you both. Gina.
Hey, thanks, David.
To say something that nuts, that crazy, frankly shows a desperation on his part to run as fast as he can to the left, right?
The DNC is imploding, and we're watching something that we have never seen in our history. You know, the rest of the media is probably not going to report this, but that's exactly what we're seeing. And you know what? I hope they stay on this immigration issue, because the immigration issue is the single biggest losing issue the Democrats have. It's great that Cuomo did this.
But coming out with this, Dom, we should remind folks who haven't heard the news that he's running against somebody much further to the left than he is, or maybe not much further now, but she was further. Cynthia Nixon, she's a TV star. You've probably seen her in Sex and the City. But he's trying to kind of counter her move to the left. But still, it is indicative of something that's happening all over the country, is it not?
Absolutely. It's a race to see how much farther to the left can you go, and it's almost impossible to imagine. And I have to say, too, David, Italian Americans like me, particularly, find this type of stuff. I know a lot of people that call me and react. They're very proud of doing things the right way, coming here the right way. And the Cuomos, for years, have been kind of an embarrassment to them across the board.
Yeah. Now, Gina, speaking of desperation, this move by the Democrats today to sue just about everybody under the sun, the Russians, everybody affiliated with the Republican Party, you throw people in that you never heard of in this lawsuit. Even to me, what it means is that even Democrats realize they're not going to get what they want, collusion from the Mueller investigation.
You know what we say to that? We say, bring it. We cannot wait for the discovery process. Can you imagine the moment that we open up for example, the DNC server records that the FBI doesn't have access to? Can you imagine when we get to it through the process of discovery, take a look at the Clinton Foundation and the role that Fusion GPS played in the fake dossier? Can you imagine when we get to look at what they did to destroy Bernie, to hand the election to Hillary? The list goes on. We can't wait.
And Dom, you know, it's always follow the money. I mean, that's what journalists rely on, and all of the money flows. The money that flew that flew from the DNC to the legal firm that works for the DNC to Fusion GPS, following those money flows as well. I mean, they've really opened themselves up to a hornet's nest here.
They have, and they've opened themselves up, too. I think it's one thing to a big challenge, but mockery, just as Gina did, and the mockery of this that's already started up. Can you imagine the Russian government officials, WikeLeaks, and unnamed co-conspirators across the country? When you get mocked, and if late-night comedians ever pick up on it, if they dare, this is the death knell to any kind of collusion or anything like that.
Well, and Gina, you know, Rush Limbaugh brought up a great point today, which is that speaking of mocking, the Democrats have done more to put the United States in the position the Russians wanted us to be in, where not only are we mocked by the whole world for what's going on here, for the absurdness of some of these investigations and how it's crippling some of our attempts to do good things, whether it's domestically or foreign, but it's also calling in a lot of Americans' minds the question of what's going on in this system. Is this system really functioning as it should be?
Yeah, and imagine if through the media or through the discovery process, we uncover the collusion between the media and the DNC in an attempt to destroy any enemies or opponents of Hillary's. The list goes on. They have set their own traps, and they are walking into them. And we are witnessing history like we've never seen it before.
Well, Dom, how is all this going to play out with the general public, do you think? Are they finally, even folks who might veer to the left towards the Democratic Party finally going to realize that they've been had?
I don't think so, David. On the left, there is a thirst. There is just a tremendous conspiracy plays well with any number of people. But thank God they're not a significant enough base to overwhelm. And what it does, it tires people out. It becomes wearisome. And then Hillary Clinton appears on the scene, says something regrettable, and we're back off again to revisiting this. And it just makes people believe they can't accept what the American people wanted. They didn't want Hillary Clinton. They wanted Donald Trump.
Right. And Gina, we saw how wrong the polls were in 2016. You hear all these suggestions that the Democrats are going to sweep in 2018 in the midterms. But I wonder about that middle. I think Dom is right about the people that are on the left, that are Democrat supporters, that 1/3 of America. But the folks in the middle who were totally discounted by the pollsters in 2016, don't you think that they are open-minded to the fact that a lot of what Democrats have been saying is not only wrong, but harmful to the United States?
Exactly. And we're seeing that with our fundraising at the RNC. We see that, we have the small donors. The president himself and his campaign are getting the small donors. And the Democrats' coffers are dry. How are they even going to sink a message when they don't have any money, but the donations they do have are all from Hollywood and Wall Street elites? That doesn't resonate with the average American. The average American is taking note of that. Yeah. You're exactly right, David. But it's going to show up at the ballot box.
The problem, Dom, is this collusion, if you will, between the media and the DNC. I mean, they are so tight together, it's almost impossible to break them up. You only got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Hey, and that's why their approval rating is so low, lower than anybody, maybe even Congress at some points.
Yeah, but they still have influence. Dom Giordano, Gina Loudon, great to see you both. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, David, very much.